powerful earthquake rocked Mexico's southwest coast today. The earthquake struck this afternoon in the state of Michoacan, but could be felt as far away as Mexico City.
This is an employment center over my shoulder where dozens of people have been rescued and where dozens more are still believed to be buried underneath all of this debris.
Mexico's rich culture and history are accompanied by a powerful force of nature that can shake the fate of entire communities. Earthquakes, some as large as 8.0, create a devastating symphony that topples homes and leaves a trail of destruction in their wake. Despite their infrequency, the impact of these seismic events on the country is profound, reminding us of the immense power of nature. Join us as we discuss the New Mexico earthquake that shocked the world. Mexico's southwest coast tectonic tales. The southwest coast of Mexico is within the Pacific Ring of Fire, where the Earth's outer layer is always moving. These coastal areas witness the clash of the Cocos Plate sliding beneath the Caribbean and North American plates. The angle at which one plate goes under another may seem gentle, but the plates move quickly at over 6 centimeters per year, creating tensions that echo through a vast area and releasing their stored energy in sudden and powerful earthquakes. As you move away from the area where the Earth's surface breaks, the earthquakes become less frequent and more intense, gradually calming the Earth's troubles. However, the outcomes of this underground struggle go beyond simple tremors. The plate boundaries coming together, stretching across big distances and lurking near the coast, often cause scary tsunami warnings. A seismic symphony puts massive amounts of water into motion along the area where one plate goes under another, ominously flowing toward the shores. Although many warnings are precautions, people living by the coast stay watchful, knowing that tsunamis and occasional sad events may happen, especially after severe earthquakes. While the coasts of the Caribbean and much of northern Mexico are not affected by the shaking earth, the Pacific coast regularly faces nature's anger. The region's challenging landscape is made worse by many people's weight, making each seismic event more serious. Nowhere is this more obvious than in the large area around Mexico City, a city frequently caught by seismic disturbances, showing the ongoing struggle between where people live and the strong forces beneath the Earth's surface. The Great Earthquake of 1787. On March 28, 1787, a big earthquake happened along the southwest coast of Mexico, covering over 450 kilometers from Valladolid to Tehuantepec. This huge event, now famously known as the San Sixto earthquake, occurred in an area without many scientific records. The size and effects of this earthquake can only be estimated, with current guesses saying it was around 8.6 on the Richter scale. An extremely big earthquake for that region's recorded history. After the main quake, 3 strong aftershocks, each measuring over 7 on the Richter scale, shook the area in the following days. The main shock caused a powerful tsunami that swept along the Pacific coast, creating waves taller than 18 meters. This scary force traveled over 500 kilometers along the coastline, causing tragedy and taking the lives of 11 people. The relatively low number of casualties is because fewer people lived in Mexico at that time, less than 6 million. The 1787 big earthquake, magnitude 8.6, created a deadly tsunami that flooded the coasts of Oaxaca, Guerrero, and Chiapas. It stretched over 500 kilometers along the Mexican Pacific coast and reached up to 6 kilometers inland. Historical records suggest that the tsunami mostly damaged farmlands and animals, sparing the small villages because few people lived there during that time. Further investigations into geological evidence from the Coralero Lagoon and nearby coastal plain fit well with historical stories. The deposit left by the 1787 tsunami shows up in cores and test pits up to 1.6 kilometers inland from the coastline. These digs reveal a strange layer of sand deposited in a single event within the low areas between a series of beach ridges. This unique layer, about 1,000 meters wide, consists of coarse to medium sand with varying depth and thickness, and it thins out as you move away from the coastline. Using different methods like stratigraphy, grain size analysis, microfossils, magnetic properties, and magnetic susceptibility proxies, we figure out the nature of this unusual sand layer. The sudden changes, magnetic features, and evidence from the layers all point to a quick event, suggesting that the sands were carried inland, probably by a huge sea wave. Additionally, by combining accounts of the 1787 earthquake and tsunami with estimates from sedimentation rates, we suggest that this unique sand layer represents the tsunami deposit left by the 1787 event. Using tsunami modeling will help us better understand the dangers and risks in this part of Mexico, giving us useful information for preparing for future disasters. Mexico City earthquake of 1985. The big earthquake that hit Mexico City in 1985 was a very bad event on September 19, 1985, off the coast of the Mexican state of Michoacan. The earthquake was really strong, with a magnitude of 8.0, and it caused many deaths, injuries, and terrible damage in Mexico City. The center of the earthquake was about 320 kilometers from Mexico City, where the North American plate and the Cocos plate under it were pushing against each other. The earthquake happened along the Middle America Trench, part of the Circum-Pacific Belt in the Michoacan seismic gap. The energy for the earthquake had been building up in this area since a big earthquake in 1911, and smaller shakes in the 1970s showed that a big earthquake was coming. Another equally strong shake happened the next evening, southeast of the first one. Mexico City, built on Lake Texcoco's dried-up bed, got seriously damaged because of its unique land features. Loose dirt and clay from the old lake bed worsened the shaking, especially for buildings 5 to 15 stories tall. The shaking between these buildings and the earthquake waves made them sway even more, and over 400 buildings collapsed, with thousands more getting damaged. The damage in Mexico City worsened because the electricity went out and the city had no public transit or working traffic lights. President Miguel de la Madrid didn't fully use the national emergency plan, making things even more chaotic. At first, they said no to help from other countries, but later they accepted it. The number of people who died, officially said to be 10,000, is still argued about, with estimates ranging from 5,000 to 45,000. The earthquake especially affected Mexico City because of its geological and city features. The city's ground, especially in the downtown area, made the damage worse. The dirt and volcanic clay from the old lake bed and how the ground shook caused more shaking. Taller buildings, especially those between 6 and 15 stories, were most affected by this shaking. Even though Mexico City had strict building rules back then, the structures were not built to handle such a strong earthquake. Buildings made between 1957 and 1976, especially those 6 to 15 floors tall, were damaged a lot. Surprisingly, the Torre Latinoamericana, built with deep piles into stable ground, got little damage. The government's reaction to the earthquake, like not sharing news and giving different death toll numbers, was criticized. President de la Madrid's way of dealing with the crisis made things harder for the ruling Institutional Revolutionary Party. The earthquake also showed problems with recent construction and corruption. After the earthquake, people in the affected areas worked together, organizing rescue missions and helping those without homes. The military helped with rescues and cleaning, and regular people played an important part in helping those affected. The earthquake led to the creation of groups that opposed the government, like the Coordinadora Única de Damnificados, which wanted the government to take destroyed properties and build new homes for the displaced. The coup achieved many of its goals, fixing and building almost 100,000 homes with money from the World Bank. The 2017 Pbla Earthquake. On a regular day in Mexico, the ground under its surface started shaking with a strength that would make September 19, 2017, a day remembered across the country. At exactly 1:14 p.m. CDT, a strong earthquake with a magnitude of 7.1 released its power, sending shockwaves through the country's center. The center, just 55 kilometers south of Pbla, set the stage for a disaster that would spread across states, leaving destruction behind. The ground shook for 20 seconds, shaking the bases of buildings and lives. Sitting on a dry lake bed with soft, amplifying soil, Mexico City felt the full force of the seismic fury. Striking with a strange coincidence, this earthquake happened on the 32nd anniversary of the devastating 1985 Mexico City earthquake, adding to the collective trauma. Just hours before the 2017 quake, a national earthquake drill had happened, a stark preview of the real-life nightmare that followed. Mexico's vulnerability to earthquakes comes from its geographical position on top of intersecting tectonic plates, where the Cocos Plate meets the North American Plate. This collision creates a subduction zone along the Pacific coast, leading to frequent earthquakes. On this day, nature's fury unfolded, taking 370 lives and injuring over 6,000. The Chiapas earthquake had already happened 2 weeks before, creating a sense of foreboding. Questions arose about a potential link between the two earthquakes. Investigations followed, looking into the mysterious workings of the Earth's crust. While seismic stress transfer seemed unlikely due to the distance, the 12-day gap between quakes puzzled experts, challenging common understanding. In the heart of Mexico City, the tragedy unfolded at the Enrique C. Rebsamen School, where 26 students and instructors died, with many more missing. Reports poured in from the affected regions. Churches crumbled, buildings collapsed, and fires started, leaving communities in disarray. Afterward, the nation came together. The government declared a state of emergency, sending troops for debris cleanup, search and rescue, and security missions. Amidst the chaos, international solidarity was evident. Countries worldwide, from Russia to Canada, offered help, showing unity in adversity. As the dust settled, a harsh reality came to light. Over 6,000 complaints about construction violations in Mexico City, ignored in the years before, were tragically justified. The collapse of buildings seemingly constructed without following safety standards highlighted a systemic failure. In despair, the resilience of the Mexican people showed. The hashtag #SoFuerzaMexico echoed on social media, a sign of a nation standing strong. Celebrities, organizations, and even political parties came together to support, directing funds to aid victims. As time passed, the fateful day's scars were still visible. Reconstruction efforts faced delays, leaving families uncertain. The path to healing proved challenging, with bureaucratic obstacles slowing progress. Yet despite the challenges, a determined Mexico rose, rebuilding its structures and the spirit that endured the seismic test of nature's fury. AD. It's a devastating time, and I can't even imagine the pain and suffering they must be going through. In light of these tragic events, I think it's important that we come together as a community and offer support in any way we can. While a phone case may seem trivial to mention at a time like this, I want to let you know about a product that could be helpful in the aftermath of an earthquake. Our tough phone cases have been designed to withstand the test of time and offer unparalleled durability. It's the perfect case for those who live in areas prone to earthquakes. If you want to purchase this product, click the link on your screen or the first link in the description. Outro. Have you ever experienced an earthquake before? Share your experience in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.